What's up, guys? Amster Knows Hoops, back today with another video. And today we are talking about a young player that I think we should really be talking about, not becoming necessarily a franchise player, like in terms of like I'm building around this guy, but someone that could be integral to a core. And that's going to be Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, who is just about to turn 23 basically in December. Last season averaged 16, 9, and 4 with a steal and like a block basically. So 2.2 stocks or steals and blocks on 51 from the field, 36 from 3 on about 4 a game, which is pretty good. And then 73 from the line. I think this kid could be something really, 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 really special. And I was basically proven wrong because I made a video about AJ Griffin, who, I mean, hey, bless his soul, man. I saw that he basically gave up on basketball for God. Or not gave up, but retired from basketball for God. Good for you, man. I'm sorry that your career could not have continued. But then, again, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get right into it. So, Jalen Johnson. I want to talk about him as a scorer. Right? Jalen Johnson here is going to start spreading up the wing. I think that's so great is he doesn't necessarily need the ball to create for himself. Catches, right? Boom. Gets Jokic on the perimeter. By the way, Jokic is not a good defender. Don't let defensive numbers tell you that. Spins around Jamal beautifully. Like, that's just like incredible offensive work, right? And the fact that he can create so effortlessly, I think is what's so great about him, right? Like even here, he'll run this little staggered screen option to sync off. So now everyone had closed over to Bogdanovich, right? So then Johnson gets the ball, kicks it out one last time, bang, catch and shoot. You know, he's just nice with it, right? So I think the fact that Jalen Johnson can play on and off ball at the size that he is, about 6'9", that's going to be important. And again, here, sets the screen. Dejounte now comes over. He goes, okay, I'm in front. Give me this. Backs him down. Backs Jamal down. Smaller man. Moving to the right. Tough bucket, right? Like he can make you some tough buckets, which is going to be important because I think for this Hawks franchise that quite frankly is looking to either confirm if Trae Young is their guy. If they blow it up, Jalen Johnson for now would be their franchise player. And I don't want to be mad at that. He's 23. He's young. He's a good 3-and-D wing. He can dribble the ball. And like, even, let's just look here at his defense, right? Or even more offense. My apologies. Even here, right? Jalen Johnson stays off the ball, right? He's sliding over. We're taking advantage of that man being sunk over. Powell comes up now. Gets the screen. So now it's just him and Powell, right? Goes up against him. A little tough fader. But what he does really well here, he loves that little spin, by the way. The little spin around. But he does a great job here of using that elbow to then create separation and gets a tough shot off. Again, this kid is a tough shot maker, which is going to be important because if you're removing a Trae Young who can make ridiculous shots at times, circus shots, I think this kid is something that I don't think you can ever replace what Trae Young does in terms of as a playmaker or a passer, right? But I think next season, guys, I would keep a lookout. This kid, I really do think Jalen Johnson, if everything goes right, there's no Dejounte now, right? You know Clint ain't getting the ball like that. I'm looking at a Jalen Johnson 24, 25 point per game season. I really am. Now, of course, like we said, or you could ask, but Emster, you already said, like, he's not a franchise, like a player. Like, he's not Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Steph, LeBron kind of deal. I think, though, even having a guy like a Jalen Johnson as a number 2, if he becomes fully developed behind whoever your number 1 becomes, that can change everything. Because a lot of teams struggle with finding that number 1's guy. Their number 1 guy, they're robbing. It's hard to find a Batman to begin with, but when the teams do, they always struggle to find who is their Robin, right? Like Philadelphia, you saw them, bring in and get rid of Jimmy, Ben Simmons, James Harden, all of that to basically through the draft go, maybe Maxey's our Robin. Right? Like, this is the guy that can truly play around him. And I think that's important, right? And then defensively, I love what Jalen Johnson brings, right? His disruption of the passing lane, cutting off. This is a bad pass, too, by the way, by Derrick Jones Jr. But the attentiveness by Jalen Johnson in year 3, right? I love the way he disrupts passing lanes. He still can stay in front of your guy, like no doubt. Like he's not a poor defender. But even here, right, he's ball watching a little bit, I'll be honest. But then even here, Luke Kennard goes to the corner. He knows he has to go to the corner because everyone's basically sunk in. So Jalen Johnson, 6'9" and athletic, is going to get that swipe, right? And in the times he played without Trae Young and just with Dejounte, he still looked really good. So, and again, right, I love the IQ, right? He knows he has to drive. Bang. Almost volleyball blocks it, basically. Like, I love those sort of plays, right? And even here, by the way, like, this is more of a defensive clip too, but this is a perfect pass. Like, that's a perfect, right? Like Jalen Johnson is showing he can make the right reads. Not every player shows that, unfortunately. That's just not their strengths. Even here, DeMar fights over the screen, right? Taps the ball up. Like, that's just beautiful defense. Like, that's just not even deniable. Right, like, man fights over. DeMar's going to get to the rolling drum, and understandably so, because it's just Bogdanovich in the way. That's a free 2. But Jalen Johnson goes, nope, give me those. Sauces it up, gets it going, right? And I think that's the other thing that's important, to be 100% honest. And I think that's part of the reason the Hawks have struggled with Trae Young. The defensive deficiencies and the size deficiency, just in terms of being such a smaller guard, is that at some point, you will most likely be exploited. The only and you can even talk about guys like Luka. The difference there is Luka's 6'7", and the dude's built like a truck. Like, he's a big dude. Pause. And he can then, through his size, still guard certain players. Trae Young can't really guard a guy once they're that much taller than him. Let alone, like, muscle, size, whatever, and they can just basically big boy past him. That is where the difference comes in. That is where things get to a whole other level. And that's why I think it's so important that ultimately, if the Hawks get someone, they do need someone who it may not be a huge positive on defense, but cannot be that exploitable. So that's the one nice thing too, is that with Jalen Johnson, that little mini era that they could have, they have a defensive guy. Like, he's not going to just get completely picked apart and defenses basically circle him and go, let's go for him, right? And then I want to talk about his passing playmaking, right? Because I don't think he's actually bad at this. And I think as a year 3 guy, basically came into the league at 19, he could do something nice, right? Gets the ball here. Jimmy comes over. Gets it to the top of the key. Reads that, right? And that's just a tough make, right? Like, I don't know if that would be an assist in another scenario. But that is the right pass. That's the right play. Right? Gets Bam on him. Waits. Loses the dribble, right? Now he's stuck. And this here is where I realized there might be just a little something more to this kid. Let's just watch. Boom. Jimmy falls and does a tough behind the back pass. Right? That is some Luka nonsense. And then even the transition play, right? He could push in transition. And, like, that's a good, like, that's just good ball placement, right? Because Gafford's looking, too. He could swipe at the ball, but he does a great job of making sure only Clint's getting that. No one else is going to be there, right? And that's where Jalen Johnson can make his difference. That's where I think he can make his mark. If he continues to ascend as a passer, we are seeing now in this league a versatile wing is becoming one of the most valuable assets in the league. Mikal Bridges got 4 first-round picks in the trade with the Knicks. And if you think about prior, he's basically was equivalated to Kevin Durant, right? No one thinks Mikal Bridges is even sniffing Kevin Durant. But in the trade value, what you got back, they viewed it as equal value. And then OG Anunoby just got paid big bucks. 3-and-D wing, right? The Knicks basically, now the Celtics hammered down, we are going the 3-and-D route. Right now, they're all not wings, obviously, but like Brown and Tatum. 3-and-D wings that can play basically 2 through 4 to even 5 at times. Not so much Brown. Not even really. But you get the point. Like 2 through 4 on any given night. Easily, no big like, oh my God, they can't do this or they're way out of their depth. That's huge. So to me, a guy like Jalen Johnson, I don't know if he's a superstar potential player. But I think this kid could be a star. I really do. I think next season, he'll probably average like, I said 25, probably like 23, 22, take another like 6-7 point jump. I expect the rebounds to stay the same, around 9, maybe 8. It could even get to 10 because if they trade Clint. And then I think his assists are going to go up. I think he's going to get to like 4 to 5 assists a game in the minutes without Trae Young. I think he can kind of step up there as a facilitator for the team. Let me know what you guys think down below. Is Jalen Johnson the guy for Atlanta? Should Atlanta already basically say, Trae Young, we love you for what you did for this team. We got to a conference finals with you. But we clearly see it ain't going much further. Thank you for your service. Or do you think, answer, you're tripping. This dude ain't ever going to be like that. He had a great bounce back year. He could be a cool 3rd, 4th option, but he ain't all that, which is fine. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's hit 1K, people. There will be something special at the end of the road. As always, this was M's for No Soups. I thank you all for spending your time watching. Have a good one. Peace out.